Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to go over the big changes to Roundhill XPAY's prospectus and what this means for investors. But before I do, I'm a young, ambitious YouTuber with everything to prove and nothing to lose. So please smash that like button to let the algorithm gods know I'm here, and hit subscribe so you know whenever I go live where I talk about finance news, stocks, and investing, or I publish a new video like the one you're watching where it's mostly informational in nature. With that out of the way, let's go. Okay, so I just want to go over this quick video, right? I published this video on YieldMax's prospectus change. All right, got a lot of enthusiastic, passionate comments. So I appreciate every single one of you. I've read every single one of your comments. All right. Definitely took in the feedback. So I'll try to keep future videos a little more shorter and to the point. All right. So let's get on with it. So you guys, I'm not here to, quote unquote, shill Roundhill. All right. I'm not here to prove whether one is better than the other, YieldMax or Roundhill. All right. I don't personally care. I'm here to make money, and I hope you are too. All right, so real fast, I wanted to know, because after making this video, I was curious, is there any updates to some of the prospectuses for the holdings that I have? And, you guys know that I have PLTW, NVW. These are from Roundhill, Chippies from YieldMax, XPAY, and XDTE. There was an update for XPAY. All right. Just for transparency's sake, I have about $65,000 in this ETF alone. Right. I'm still down a little bit because we're recovering from, all that winning we were doing just a couple of weeks ago. So still recovering from that. But anyways, I just want to briefly cover this, for any new investors who never heard of this thing. All right, this is XPAY from Roundhill, the S&P 500 Target 20 Managed Distribution ETF. This is, basically a ETF you can invest into, and you'll get 20% yield, right? You'll get a 20% annual distribution, but it comes with a couple kickers. All right. 100% of your return is going to be a return of capital. I'm not here to debate whether that's good or bad. If you guys want me to kind of go on with that debate, I can make a video. Just let me know down below in the comments. Okay. This is going to pay you monthly. All right. On a annualized rate of 20%. And the last objective that this fund has is to give you exposure to the return of the S&P 500. Okay, so this is a really, really cool ETF. Again, I'm not here to say it's good or the best or whatever, but here's just some of the mechanics of it. They have very long calls. You guys can see this 2026, right, is when this one is due in February. This is March of 2026. This is November of 25, December of 25. So they do really long calls, okay? That's just the way this works. And if we look at the distributions, you guys can see right here, it's been fairly stable, right? As long as I've held it, I've only held it for about 3 months, but it has been pretty stable. All right. It did drop from 97 cents to 95. So you guys be the judge of whether it's going to go down or whatever. So anyways, I was checking the prospectuses and I wanted to know if there was an update to this. And to check to see if there was an update, I went to the SEC's EDGAR database. Okay, this is where new filings are put. You guys can check this yourself. Again, that link is going to be sec.gov/EDGAR. Okay, and I searched for Roundhill ETF Trust and I came across one. Okay, that was kind of wild. So this one is recent. This update came May 1st, 2025, and this was for XPAY. Now, I highlighted a bunch of stuff, but I'm going to just breeze through. If you guys want to stop the video and read it yourself, you absolutely can. Just something to note is the 49 basis point expense ratio. There was some feedback, some criticisms about this fund saying that, this is a lazy man's covered call ETF. Why would anyone pay for this ETF only for them to return your money back to you? Again, I'm not here to debate whether that's good or bad. There's a lot of covered call ETFs that return well over 95% as a return of capital. So is what it is. Again, just want to make that as a data point. So highlighted in yellow is really the point that I want to talk about. But here, I'm going to just start from the beginning. The advisor seeks to maximize the amount of the distribution that is categorized as a return of capital from a tax perspective, with a target of 100% return of capital. So when you invest into XPAY, okay, when you invest into this ETF, if you were to hold this for 5 years, let's say you put in $100,000, it's going to give you $20,000 every single year. After it returns you 100% of your money, right? You're still invested. and you'll still be able to receive distributions. Now, when you receive those distributions, though, because your cost basis would be, in theory, would be zero, every distribution you get is going to be taxed. It's going to come with a capital gains tax. I'm not a tax professional. Those are people you need to talk to. I'm just some dude on YouTube. All right. So going back to the prospectus, the yellow piece is the big one. However, insofar as the fund has net investment income, meaning that the fund actually generates income, it's not just paying you your money back in a given year, such net investment income will be paid out via an additional distribution, some or all of which will not be characterized as a return of capital, meaning that if they pay you a special dividend or a special distribution, it's not going to be characterized as a return of capital. That is a big deal, right? And the fund's distribution rate will exceed 20%, right? And you guys can read the rest of this stuff. It's just kind of like that vanilla, copy paste kind of speak. This uses flex options, the same thing that Yield Max uses. All right. So anyways, this is a big change. This is a huge change. So what does that actually mean for us as investors? Well, if we look at XDTE, which is another ETF that I'm invested into, okay, I have, I think, like 70,000 in this ETF. You guys can see it right here. These two distributions right here, and this is a weekly payer. The other one was monthly, right? XPay is monthly. But here you could see that these two distributions are higher than everything else. And that is because Roundhill, returned a ton of money that they held in the NAV or that they held in the fund. They returned it to investors in the form of a higher distribution. All right. Because if you look at XPay, right, or if you looked at XDTE, it stayed within that like $49, $51 range. It didn't really fluctuate. If the S&P 500 was growing in value, XDTE kind of didn't grow that much at all, right? It kind of maintained its NAV within that like $2 or $3 range. So XPay does similar things, does almost the same exact thing. All right, let's take away from February, really it's 18, but February 21 and forward. All right, this was the tariffs on Canada. This was the tariffs on Mexico and China and fentanyl and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And then, here comes liquidation day. All right. But from inception day all the way forward, okay, it didn't really change that much. All right. If you look at it, it really is zero. It didn't change that much, 35 basis points up. Its lowest was 3%. Okay. If we look at the S&P 500 and we go to, let's say November 1st, if we can get there, November 1st to February 18, right? So February 18, there was a 7% gain. All right. So what did XPay do with all that money? Well, they hold it. And then what they're planning to do is pay a special distribution at the end of the year. So this is a really cool thing. This is a really nice thing. I didn't know that XPay was going to do that. I knew XDTE did that. So it's really nice that XPay is going to do the same thing. And that, that distribution is not going to be classified as a return of capital. It'll be actually the income that it made from the premiums or whatever else. So really, really exciting stuff, guys. I'm going to end the video here. I don't want to drag this on forever. But as investors, make sure you guys understand the return of capital conundrum, the debate that is ongoing. Okay, if you guys want me to do a video about that, I'll give you guys my thoughts. Let me know down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, got a lot of value from it. I will see you all in the next video. Take care. Have a wonderful day.